Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll discuss class 9 Prose, the priceless gift. The first question, the writer found some of the chair and tables. Your answer is has been pushed to a corner. The writer saw a very young girl dance in the restaurant. Your answer is giving a sad look. Number 3. Maggie inquired the cashier whether Mr. Gupta was an Indian. The writer chose the corner table in the restaurant because he wanted to read the newspaper. What do you mean by priceless gift in relation to this topic? Very valuable and impossible to replace. Maggie asked Mr. Gupta to buy and lay on his brother's grave. Your answer is flowers. Maggie handed over a to Mr. Gupta. Ceiling. What aroused Mr. Gupta's curiosity in the young girl? Her asking the cashier about him. Mrs. Bedi did not shake hands with Mr. Gupta because her hands were covered with flour. When Mr. Gupta assured that he would write to Maggie, she thanked him. Mr. Gupta was in a fix when he visited the mother and the daughter because he did not know how to console Mrs. Bedi. Maggie visited the restaurant on Saturdays only because it was the payday when she can spend little from her weekly wages. When Mr. Gupta seated himself in the corner table, he started skimming through the newspaper. Then question number 14. Mr. Gupta inquired about the girl from the desk. Waiter. According to the waiter, Maggie visits the restaurant desk on payday. The writer wished to help Maggie in a way because she was poverty stricken. What was Frankie? A soldier. Where do flowers grow in great profusion? In Mr. Gupta's country. Where did the writer and Maggie reach? Boston. What did Mr. Gupta feel like doing with the ceiling? Returning it to Maggie. What happened to Maggie's voice while thanking to Mr. Gupta? Choked. When Mr. Gupta met Mrs. Bedi, her hands were covered with flour. How did Maggie and Mrs. Bedi make their living? By baking cakes. Saturday night is a time of festivity in poor neighborhood. How do you come to know this? All of the above. All kinds of things are sold on this night. The streets are much more crowded than other days. People are able to spend a little from their weekly wages. The photograph was kept neatly by Mrs. Bedi in an envelope. According to the writer, Punjab is very place to live in. Both A and B fine and healthy. What made Mrs. Bedi sick and put her in a serious condition? Her anxiety about Frankie. Mrs. Bedi said they had no news from Frankie for a long time. What did the writer skim through newspaper? How did Mr. Gupta step into the kitchen? With a smile. So this is all your answer and question.